Stan.
I said, somebody just actually connects to what we're talking about. I said that I really like Soul Hackers, but you know, I'm a big Cyberpunk Stan. And means like, what's a
Cyberpunk Stan?
Yeah, a Stan. This is a hip hop lingo. Let me break it down for you guys.
Please do.
A Stan is someone who likes something to the degree, like a genre of something or a specific artist.
When you say
is this
Stan,
supposed to be an Eminem reference?
Yes, this is a well-established
like the Eminem song Stan.
Stan, right? That has become that became a neologism to mean someone who couldn't be critical.
Is this a real thing that people use outside of you?
Yeah.
Wow.
100%.
When you said Stan, the first thing that came to mind was Stan from Monkey Island. So I was thinking about this guy in like a plaid jacket waving his arms everywhere.
That sounds like Austin.
Trying to sell me on this game.
The Eminem song. So I thought the Eminem song was about the Monkey Island character, right? That's not true.
Apparently not the case.
That changes things.
I miss them days.
See, Allie backs me up in the chat. She agrees that yes, Stan is a for real.
I still think you mistyped and meant to say Cyberpunk Stan.
Well, that's where I live.
Sounds like you.
Yeah. He's a Cyberpunk Stan living in Cyberpunk Stan.
Cyberpunk Stan is a state of mind.
It's true.
That's my favorite Papers, Please Nation.
It's like an inner zen of sorts.
All hail Cyberpunk Stan.
Papers, Please.
Phil, have you played Papers,
What's the
Please?
version of that?
I've been waiting for the full release because I feel like it's a game I'm gonna really dig. And I would rather not play like the early. And that's kind of what I did with Rogue Legacy too. Is I didn't really play the demo because I saw it and was immediately like, I think I'm gonna really dig this game. So rather than spend a lot of time and burn myself out on the demo and then have to start over in the full game, I'm just gonna wait until the full release comes out.
I watched a super great friend. He did a bit of a playthrough of the demo and put it up on his channel, and that was pretty fun to watch. Just how the whole game plays out, because it just stacks on more and more rules and stuff.
Yeah, I've watched some of it, but I definitely haven't played any yet.
The developer for a while, I don't know if this is still the case, but for a while he had a thing on his site where you could submit your name and like your gender to become sort of one of the people who comes to the border, and I did that. You fucking know I did that, and you get like a little placeholder passport. You can't wait to reject me.
No, not just to reject me, but to hand you over to the secret police.
That's what's needed, is later on, if you come across somebody with like forged documents, you can either tell them to get the hell out of Dodge, you can call the police to come over and grab them, and they take them off screen, and you never see them again.
It's a really interesting game. I don't want to speak too much about it because I know Phil hasn't really played it, and I don't want to influence what he.
I mean, I've watched some sort of like
I think
like Giap was saying.
Right. I think what's really interesting about it for me is that a lot of people quickly put it in the same category as like Cart Life, right? It's like one of these.
Sure.
I've heard people use the phrase empathy game or like real life game, stuff like that. And I think that there is definitely a comparison to be made there, but I think there's something really interesting about the difference, which is that I'm sympathetic for our characters in Cart Life. Like when we were playing Cart Life, I felt really bad for that dude. Like by default, here's this immigrant coming into this country, like I know he has a his life is gonna suck, like I am on his fucking side. Whereas when I started playing Papers, Please, it's like, alright, this is a border guard, I am a fairly liberal dude who's had shitty border guard experiences. Like, my default position was, ugh, I really don't like border guards.
Also, government employees in Soviet countries were generally not inclined to sympathize with them.
Right, and what the game
They're the ones who have food and stuff.
Right, and not right. And what the game managed to pull off was to suggest not only in the larger scheme, like they didn't have food, right? Because that's one of the concerns that you have while playing Papers, Please is trying to save up money to take care of your family, but also just in the day-to-day monotony of doing this task, I ended up being sympathetic to these people who otherwise I wouldn't have felt sympathetic towards, and like that's a huge achievement.
And another part of it is that when you're playing Cart Life, at least for me, when I play Cart Life, I don't find it sort of shamefully fun in the same way that I find Papers, Please feels really Please.
So that's
really fun.
That's part of the appeal. It's supposed to be very kind of crushing to some degree, because the gist of it is your character starts off, it's like, hey, welcome to this fictional, totalitarian sort of place. You got a job. Good job. Keep doing it. It's the only thing you're ever going to do.
Well, everybody
And,
likes being
and
told
you're
good
just
job.
you're just a guy doing your own thing, and you're doing the border thing. And typically, it's kind of like like you could tell people to get lost, or you could sick the police on them and be a complete asshole. But it also just kind of boils down to it's a little more disconnected, I guess you could say, than cart life. But you're kind of a guy doing your own thing. And it's kind of like you'll barely squeak by on most days. And I know that like in the first level or something, I think. Actually, it's the second, so this isn't really much of a spoiler, but the second day is cut short because somebody, sets off a bomb and basically cuts you short for the day. So for that first day, you were actually handicapped and you're way behind the mark because of that. So just a bunch of neat little things like that, and it's just kind of like, well, shit.
And if you haven't played this,
one of the things that I have been hearing over and over again that makes me really interested in Papers, Please. Not that I didn't like obviously I liked Cart Life a lot. I think it's a really cool, interesting game. But I think what you were saying, Austin, which is true, is that there's something inherently not gamey about Cart Life. Like, there's not a sense of like. I never got a sense of while playing Cart Life that I could really win.
Right. I've heard that devs say that's a misperception, but I've also never seen anybody play that game successfully ever. So
I think the other thing that really wins me over with Cart Life, though, just to go back to it, is just the concept of the game and how it actually makes it fun. I mean, take the description of Papers, Please. That's what I meant to say. Take the description of Papers, Please, and explain it to somebody who doesn't know about it. They will not be interested in it, but it is a fun game to watch and play.
Yeah.
It's just a game about managing red tape.
Right.
But it sets it up and does it so well that it's actually pretty engaging.
It's also nice that he's done another game within that universe where
He's
you're
done two
managing
more.
a prop. Oh, has he? There's
What
the
a-
propaganda paper one. What's the other?
What's
The
the
Find the Assassin games. Those are both in the same universe.
Right.
is that what propaganda paper one is that?
Man, what is it called? I
Republic
think
of Time.
Oh man, I didn't realize that was tied in to Papers,
yeah,
Please.
that's Republic is one of the states.
That game's awesome.
That game's really rad.
I spent a night pretty addicted to that. Like
game is that?
for a little flash game, it's really, really entertaining. It's called Republia Times, and you're in charge of a propaganda paper for this nation.
Oh yeah, I'm a propaganda machine.
And then the kind of arc. Obviously I don't want to spoil it. Everybody should go check this out and play it. But there are requirements that you're getting from the government about what types of stories you should run, how to keep people interested in the paper and happy and content. But then you're also hearing stuff from an outside faction who wants to overthrow the current regime. And like, which of those two things do you support, and which of the there's a really clever arc that I don't want to spoil because it's worth playing for yourself.
For sure.
So Atlas, guys.
Yeah. Now that we've talked about individuals scraping
poor
together money to
Atlas.
support themselves.
So I don't know. For anybody who hasn't heard, apparently Index Holdings, which is the parent company of Atlas Inc., is filing for bankruptcy. They were like tied to Atlas for a long time, and then I think just like 2 years ago, actually purchased them in full.
Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yeah. I don't know. I don't really understand too much of what's happening. I will say I've heard for a long time that apparently Index is like a very sketchy company.
With a name like Index
Yeah.
Corp, like that is some 1980s like evil corporation from a movie.
Like
type
I guess
shit.
yeah, they're under like some crazy like full-on criminal investigation from the Japanese government right now. So like they're a really sketchy company. I've also heard that Atlas is one of the few parts of their company that is actually like making any money. So yeah,
Here's the question that I've had, because I don't. Is it like bankruptcy as we know it, or is it like a Japanese Some sort of
so-
arbitration type.
I was
Do we know?
trying to figure this out. And, obviously I'm no like an expert on how
No Japanese
bankruptcy
lawyer.
works in Japan.
Are you sure?
I mean,
I'm
I've tried.
Japanese bankruptcy scientist. Sorry.
I'm still working on my master's in Japanese bankruptcy.
Right.
I'm working on my associates.
But
There's an online course.
My understanding
it's very reputable.
my understanding is that what's going on is I always get it mixed up in the U.S. But there's different
Chapter
chapters, right? There's chapter 9 and then there's chapter 11.
11? I think 11, yeah.
And one of them is like the company's actually being liquidated. All its assets are shutting down, right?
Right.
And then the other one is the company is being. Oh, I did it, you guys.
Yeah.
Nice.
The other one is the company is being reorganized and they're trying to find a way for it to work. In either case of those, though, I think what is likely to happen is that I think Atlas would likely be pulled out and given to put up for sale, the same way that
Right.
the IP and studios that THQ owned were put up for sale.
Right.
Maybe Square Enix can buy them up and Square can stop making crappy games.
Something Dumb says bankruptcy in Japan involves a lot of losing your honor and has very little to do with money. I think that's probably right.
Keith. Fucking.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I was kind of thinking along those lines too.
I beat the forest boss. I'm pretty happy with
Good
that.
job. We got some stats up.
Yeah.
Good job. Way to go.
I'd like to thank Austin for always being there for me.
You know it, Phil.
I'd like to thank my parent company, Index Holdings. Keep on keeping on, guys. You're going to make it through this. I know it's a tough time right now.
Wait, did you say your parent company?
Listen, I don't want to talk about it.
Phil, did Index, when did Index Holdings buy you out? Phil?
Listen, I went through a tough time. I needed some financial support.
He was in a debtor's prison.
Is this why your legal name is Philco now?
Yeah, yes. No, that's actually my agent wanted it changed to that. He said it's easier for the people to remember.
Snappier, see?
Yeah, it looks better on the billboards.
Is Geop your agent?
Yes. Yes.
Tell me one. Well, you see, characters cost money, so we had to cut down the link on his name to save. Because you have to put this on business cards, and
Did you
paper
think
doesn't
about,
grow on trees. You know how it is.
why didn't you just run a Kickstarter to add more characters?
Mads Fox says, "I'm a Japanese lawyer. I played all of the Ace Attorney games."
Checks out.
Scratty B says Chapter 11 is bankruptcy. Actually, so no, that's the confusing thing. Is there are different types of bankruptcy, and I know this primarily because when I was working for OneUp.com back in the day,
Wait a second. Okay.
Ziff Davis was going through bankruptcy, but it was whichever chapter of bankruptcy it is that was reorganization.
It's just a phase.
How do you feel about a company named Ziff Davis buying out and shutting down OneUp years later?
Oh man,
That's pretty. God.
Shit's getting real. Rutabaga.
that was an interesting time in my life. That's all I'll
bet.
say.
Oh, look at the giant slime. Bloodosaurus Rex.
Oh my God, are those slimes spewing fire?
They are.
That's just you're not fighting a slime. You're just fighting a giant glob of napalm.
Yeah, basically.
Hey, oxygen! Time to burst into flames.
That fire sticks around for a while too. Look at all the gold I have right now.
You got some
Oh
serious
man.
gold. All that gold.
Clumsy Agent says it was Phil's Vietnam. I guess, yeah. That seems accurate to me.
First, I thought they handed me the wrong dossier. I couldn't believe they wanted this boss dead. Giant flying skull, spitting flames.
Jordan says in the chat, Engine F, the secret is playing in black and white. And I played in black and white earlier and actually also did super well. And I don't know, like maybe it's less distracting.
Yeah, maybe. Particularly in the forest, because there is a lot of like those colorful lights and stuff. Like
yeah.
You need kind of you need some like old film noir background music playing in the back when you're going through in black and white.
That would be so good. That would actually be really great if they went in and added that.
Some
Maybe it's one of those
hard-boiled
things where
trait.
there's like less information to interpret, so you interpret faster.
Maybe, yeah. I don't.
Like
Brains
when
are
you're
weird.
fishing in
Or-
Animal Crossing, you gotta
Yeah, I
close
got
your
it.
eyes
I
and
knew
feel
what you were
it.
talking about.
But other people didn't.
I have one
Other
for you,
people-
Phil. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Upside down black and white mode. Boom. Mind blown. What do you think?
Should I do this? 25% is a lot of my gold here.
Ooh.
Do it.
I don't.
You
Oh,
got
you're
a
gonna
lot
gamble.
of gold though.
I don't know.
That's true.
Can you trust that anime man?
I think you mean that anime. Can you trust that anime?
That anime.
Yeah, that Anna person.
I'm gonna say no because I've only won this thing once, and
Right, it means
Sounds
you're
good.
due to win it again.
you're right.
How many times have you done it?
Spend money to make money, Phil. We've been through this.
You said you've done it 3 times. You won once.
I've
Wait.
done it 4 times and
Are
won
these-
once.
Are all these elves different elves? The last one was a miserly elf. That one's cheapskate elf. Are they different people?
It might be different for each area. So like since it's in the forest
Oh.
instead of the castle,
That's weird.
or it could just be randomly generated. This seems like a game that might randomly generate a few things.
Just random synonyms.
A couple.
Oh.
I'm keeping out for a midget elf or a tiny elf.
Don't stop believing in that.
I know.
Wait, what are you doing in this room,
keep
Phil?
on
There's
talking.
nothing for you there.
I
Spikes.
figured that out. I figured that out real quick.
Good.
So many spikes.
I figured out after I fell on the spikes, so I guess not quick enough, but
Yes, generic
I always
username.
forget to
That's
hit-
what I was getting at.
what?
Never trust an elf, says generic username.
He
42.
said, well, Geop, he's an elf, and I'm still like, yeah, that's why I was hoping for a tiny elf, because it would make it some sort of a Santa's elf sort of reference, maybe. The alternate
You can-
interpretation of an elf.
So I don't think, or at least I haven't noticed it, but in the forest levels, in the background, sometimes you will see what appears to be Santa and his sleigh.
So you see that everywhere.
Yeah, that's
he shows
not
up
just the forest
everywhere.
levels.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
he does like in windows as well of the castle.
Even in your little starting area, he'll fly by sometimes.
What?
Yeah.
What?
So I'm kind of
crazy.
wondering. I'm wondering if you can fight him or something.
I hope
Why
so.
would you want to fight Santa, you monster?
Yeah, you
Because
gotta
he
kill
has all
Santa.
that loot. Like,
Yeah, like he
Kill
has
Santa.
so
End
much
game.
money.
Kill Santa.
all those toys.
His loot will just be the dreams and hopes of children, you monster. Do you want
Delicious.
their tears
Let's-
as well?
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah,
I'm an
actually,
adventurer.
yes.
I have needs.
His needs are the tears of children. By the
Yeah,
way,
right.
just
It's children-
clarifying.
It's crying children. I need them to be crying.
They're on backboard on Amazon. You gotta get them where you can find them.
Oh. Come on. So this guy is bad at magic, and what that means is whenever I throw this axe, he throws it out opposite direction of where I'm facing. Fuck.
Like out of his butt. Yeah, he butt throws it.
He just throws it over his shoulder, kind of like an axe. I don't need this. Another one in my pocket? God, so much trash. Skeleton
You do it,
showing
Phil.
you how it's
I
done.
believe you.
gotta
Oh.
do it with an overhand.
You run
in
out of
front.
mana.
I maybe ran out of mana a little bit.
Aw.
It's the worst. It's happened to me.
It was a
It
nice.
happens to all of us, Phil. Don't worry about it. We all run out of mana sometimes.
Oh, Phil, I'm guessing you've gotten a what is it, obsessive compulsive character before?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, there's one character trait inside this that if you destroy objects, they gain mana back. Description is everything must be clean.
Mad Foxes.
It reminds me a little bit of Dungeons of Dreadmore and that random humor.
Yeah, totally.
Although Dreadmore swung for the fences all the time.
Yeah, Dreadmore was like all humor all the time.
Battle geology, oh my god, that was like the best thing.
That seems like a thing you'd be into.
Yes,
a
it
little bit.
was.
Regarding
Were there rock
Santa-
puns?
God, don't get him started again. Why would you do this?
What were you gonna say about Santa?
Mads Fox in the chat says, my dad works at Nintendo and said that you need to kill Santa to unlock fatalities. So we should probably get on that. But
Yeah. Speaking of Nintendo, not really speaking of Nintendo, this game should be on the Vita.
this should be on the Vita.
I really
Let's get
hope.
there.
I mean, it seems like there's a lot of buzz. It seems like this is probably doing really well for this team. I'm hoping that that it does well enough that they might be able to like bring it to some other platforms.
Yeah.
Well, Sony's been pretty big on grabbing up indie stuff, so who knows?
Yeah, I know. Like a month ago, I like tried to hook up one of my friends at Sony and like be like, "Hey, you should talk to these guys. You should seriously talk to these guys." But he usually ignores me.
I'm sorry. Is it because he hates you, or?
No, it's because I usually am saying bad ideas.
Oh, okay.
It's like a boy who cried wolf situation.
Right. Can you give us an example of your other bad ideas? I'd love to
I mean,
hear.
here's the thing: is like at this point, I'm shocked that whenever anyone takes me seriously, I'm surprised
Right.
because it's very rare that I'm saying anything worthwhile.
But I mean, I suspect this game is going to do pretty well, right? Like, there's a lot of people talking about it.
It seems like there's a ton of
site was
buzz.
down today for a really long time.
There's a ton of buzz. There was a ton of
Traffic, I'm
buzz.
assuming.
There was a ton of buzz before release, and now after release, there's been a lot of buzz.
And did it get greenlit properly? I know you can.
Yeah.
Because I have it in Steam now, so I'm
Yep.
assuming it was properly greenlit.
It was greenlit. That is accurate. So yeah, you know, I can't say with any certainty, but I would certainly hope that it is going to do well.
I mean, it's no don't shit your pants, but they deserve to, you know.
Yeah.
It will probably not do as well for them as Don't Shit Your Pants did.
What would though? Really? Let's
Don't
be
Shit Your
serious.
Pants too.
That's true. If Philco's taught us anything, sequels are where the money's at.
It's really. I feel like
dog-themed sequels.
Nice.
Dog shit your pants. There you go.
I don't know much
I know
about.
I would shit my pants.
I don't know much about cellar door games, but it seems like there's a really interesting story behind the scenes of these guys because they've done a lot of weird games. And if you look at those portraits that pop up where you can see the story behind each game, it sounds like they have been very close to shutting down multiple times.
Oh,
Yeah, there
jeez.
was that bear one they talked about. That was like their first one, I think. Some bear thing.
Yeah,
Not
so
seen that one.
I maybe
I've
yeah.
not.
It was some bear game they did. It was barely functional also. So
Oh, you son of a bitch.
but I think they kind of alluded to that to some degree. That the bear was supposed to be some acronym for something.
Did he even notice he did it? Did you think that was unintentional? Yeah.
You're asking if I noticed if I made a pun?
Yeah. At this
You
point,
don't know me very well, do you,
automatically.
sir?
What I'm saying is, I think it's intuition. It just happens now.
You're able to do it so naturally that Austin isn't
Right.
even sure if you were.
I can't
Did
tell.
he
That's
know?
genius. And it flowed so well. You didn't emphasize it the way most punmeisters do. You know, like most people who use puns really want to make sure everybody in the room heard they made a pun. But you have so many of them that at this point, you
He's
like,
just
"Oh, here,
satisfied
one
with
of them."
the action of making it.
Right, exactly. There's a sweetness to it. I respect it. I do.
Making people cringe is just kind of an added benefit.
So good.
Although I was legitimately upset about the pith one earlier.
No one knows what pith is.
No
That's
one
the
has a
problem.
clue. You know, if you had made that joke like during my like 8th grade science class, right after I learned about whatever that is,
Did you see the links I posted? I posted resources to explain the
Yeah.
That joke's funnier.
that's when you know you're going to.
Bibliography for your joke.
Yeah, that's when you know you're going too far with your puns when you have a list of sources.
Oh, it's Pip on like a tree, and then you have a Pip hat, and the guy has a hat that was made out of wood. There you go.
Hey, listen.
Pip hat is something you absolutely know what it is. You may not know it by name, but I know you've seen it.
That was a good joke. I'll get there.
One good joke, please. One drugs unit.
I've met my quota. I'm done.
Wait, something dumb says the dev team was attacked by bears, so they almost shut down. I don't know what.
I think this is a bad joke.
Is that a
That's not-
joke?
Render
Also?
that in nothing after that.
He's setting up upon it and then didn't get one. This is what I'm
Didn't
saying. Most people
deliver.
can't commit like Gia. That's
He's looking for Wikipedia link. Just so, well,
He's desperately like googling something right now.
Googling bear jokes. That's what his Google search is. He's just gonna look for a punchline that fits the circumstances. Bear magazines.
like magazines for bears or about bears.
Magazines that bears can read.
Right.
This is by far the longest run I've ever had.
Doing super well.
I have so much money.
Gold.
I guess my only problem now is like you don't. It's what you kind of alluded to earlier. You're not gonna.
This is the hill. I've gone over the hill. I'm
Right.
I'm gonna like blast through the rest of the game now.
Right, it's over. But you know, the other thing is like this character. Or wait, is this a lich?
No, I don't think so.
Is this a barbarian?
This is a barbarian, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can do that creepy, weird yell. The Skyrim yell.
The Skyrim yell, right. But there's no... This character isn't leveling up, and that's a little frustrating. Like,
Nah, it's fine.
I get why... I get, like, that's not the point of this game. The point is this, like, generational growth. But I like my RPGs to also include that slower... Or that more immediate growth.
I got the stat ups.
It's true. That's true. You did get those.
That might be enough to push
you
me through this tower.
You can find those, like, places where you pray and get a blessing.
Yeah, those are.
And then the only one I figured out what it does is the Sonic the Hedgehog one.
I haven't got that one.
There's one called like.
Does that
Hedgehog's
make you go
Curse.
fast?
No, it makes you drop gold when you're hit, like Sonic drops
Oh,
rings.
that's awful.
It's awful.
Nice.
That's good though. I mean,
What
that's
ones
like
have you had?
I can't even remember the one I had. I don't think I could figure out what it was doing. So. But I've only had one. I've seen the prayer altars twice, and I think the first time that I prayed at one, it just didn't give me anything. It was just no dice.
Phil, you're really hurt. I'm worried about you, Phil.
It might be time.
Look at all of these fucking monsters. There's
Don't
more.
do this.
There's
Ah.
more.
Ah.
There's more on this screen than can fit.
Oh, there's the big old skull.
Nice. And there's that napalm